Let's go over to Daniel, who's watching the game at Old Trafford. We are 15 minutes in, sorry. What's the latest?
Still not very much. We've just been honoured to see a picture of David Gill, who is a big part of the reason why United aren't going to win the league this season. He was very threatening in his promises when the Glazers were taking over. David Gill was very keen to say that he would be behind the barricades. That was what he said. He did nothing of the sort. And I mean, I was just thinking during the interview with the City fan, when you're talking about what an incredible season City have had, I was thinking it's incredible what you can do with £100 million.
Oh, don't be jealous. Don't be jealous.
Jealous of what?
Jealous because you've done it all over the years, Man United. They've been the big spenders.
It's not the same thing, though, is it? United's money. Let me explain.
And that's when you lost to Blackburn in the title as well. You said exactly the same thing. If Liverpool beat you for the title, you say the same thing.
No.
I don't know where Man United supporters always come from.
Sorry? No, let me
explain. You can buy. It's the same for everyone. You can go out and buy people. If the Glazers don't want to spend their money, they don't spend their money.
Number one, there's a difference between money that's come into the club by supporters, by transfer deals, than money that a club's
What's your debt? What's your debt then?
Well, United have got £500 million gone out of the club since the takeover.
So,
I mean, the United are even competitive is just a testament to how incredible Fergie is. And United don't actually need a sugar daddy in the way that City have got, the way that Blackburn have, the way that Chelsea have. They just need to be allowed to spend the money that comes into the club from the supporters. But unfortunately, it's all leaving the club in interest repayments and debt servicing and various other things. But I do think, and I'm not just saying this as a United fan, because it's nothing to do with City. I mean, if City win the league this season, it'll be because they deserve it and they're the best team. But there's something not right about a club getting an unlimited amount of money and just being able to go and buy any player. I mean, the way that I would combat it would be with a salary cap and also a cap on the amount of players that any club can sign in a season. Because ultimately, we want it to be about sport, not about who's the richest club.
But Dan, you can't do that, mate. Salaries cap, as they tried to do, you can't. It's against the European rules. So, unfortunately, you can't do it.
They're beginning to realise. My missus is actually a competition lawyer, and I'm an ex-lawyer myself, and they're beginning to realise that certain things need special status. And they're starting to do that a little bit with football. And so the way that, like FPP, for example, is also contrary to the rules of the European Union. But they're starting to realise that football needs to be legislated slightly differently from other things.
It is a fascinating
agree with that. I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, because of the rules they are at the moment, Dan, is because the likes of United and Liverpool years ago tried to do it. Say we'll agree to a cap on how much you can pay a player, but then who's to stop somebody else to go out and do that if the rules aren't actually in place? It was just a gentleman's agreement, and it never worked.
No, it works. I mean, it works well in America actually. Although in America perhaps it's a little bit too equal, and winning the Super Bowl is almost a rota. If you hang around for long enough, you will see your team win it. I mean, even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won it, despite the money that the Glazers are siphoning out of them, although they're in something of a mess now. But I mean, to me, it's just I almost feel like a bit uncomfortable when United go out and just use financial muscle to extract players from other teams, because it's more. I want it to be as much as possible about the sport. And so United, for example, despite the expensive signings, has always been also about young players.
Daniel, can I just say though, I have to say, if an oligarch or someone from a Qatari background, oil background, a Russian billionaire came and bought United and pretty much offered you a £500 million transfer kitty, you wouldn't be saying it. I have to say that from a Chelsea fan. Money is without a shadow of a doubt ruining the Premier League. I do not in any way question that. I think at the moment it's whoever's got the most money, whoever spends the most is going to have the best chance. But it's not going to stop.
Is it ruining the league though?
It's not ruining the league
because it's the most worldwide brand. It's probably the best export that Britain has or England has at the moment. Everybody talks about the Premiership and the investment that comes in, that people go and watch it. So it's I don't think it's doing harm to the Premier League, but I understand what you think that I think Fergie's come out and said that the money that Man City have spent and all that is putting up the prices. Paris Saint-Germain has just been bought this year by Qataris who wanted to buy Man United, but the Glazers wouldn't sell. They've gone there, so they will go into the market and start. So the fees will start going up all over the world.
The only thing I would say, which I think City have done wrong and have made a bit of a shambles of it all, is the way they've spent their money. I still will stand by the fact that I think they have bought so poorly and in such a brash way. To basically have a team where you've spent £500 million is what they've spent since they've come in and taken over. And still, if Lescott is injured, have no one to cover him. If Yaya Toure's out, have no decent cover. But you've then got people like Dzeko, Tevez, Aguero, Balotelli, all upset because they're not getting regular football. You've got a glutton of brilliant players for two positions and no one at the back, and that for me is a little bit like someone who doesn't know the game coming in and going.
I understand what you're saying, and they'll do something about that because they know they're weak there, and they'll try and get, say, like Dzeko off their.
But let's not forget how long it's taken them, and the signings like Joe, Robinho, Santa Cruz, all these boys who have gone now.
But they're not by the same people. It's not by, and it wasn't by the people from Abu Dhabi either.
Fair enough. But in which case they learned from who was there previous.
Yeah, but the Thai guy, Sinu Archer, came in and did that and spent that money, and the likes of Joe was bought under spend, and that was before Mark Hughes. So you have to say, sometimes you get stuck with players as a manager or a club because they're on such big wages, you can't move them, and they won't go anywhere else because nobody else will pay them that money. And so suddenly a new manager like Mancini comes in, he wants to get his own ones in. And so you accumulate players and your wage bill goes up and up until you can get rid of them.
Stay ahead of the game with Sports Tonight Live. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search for Sports Tonight Live on Facebook and like our fan page. Follow Sports Tonight TV on Twitter and tweet us your thoughts and opinions. Sports Tonight Live, it's the platform for the fans.